Hey, what's up, everybody? Nick Underhill for NewOrleans.Football, and you're watching The Dot presented by Matt Bowers Auto Group. We're officially into the offseason program. We've seen rookie minicamp. We've seen an organized team activity. So we're starting to gather some information on what the Saints are going to look like this year. That process obviously has a long ways to go to play out, but being into it gives us some real things to talk about. We got the observations up on yesterday's practice on NewOrleans.Football. Make sure you're signed up to get all your coverage of the Saints throughout the offseason and into the season. And today, as always, we're doing our Friday mailbag, taking questions from our NewOrleans.Football community. The first one comes from Trey Harris, who asks, what do you think about the amount of players missing from OTAs? Look, the first thought standing on the sideline is you think, man, it would be better if all these guys were here for sure. You got a new head coach establishing a new program. But on the other hand, I don't know that it actually really matters. I don't think it's something that's going to be a big deal come the season. It's a talking point right now, but over the last 2 years, these guys have figured out how to prepare for the season away from the team better than they ever have before. And I think part of having a veteran team is that you have to treat those guys like veterans and trust them to do what they got to do to be ready for the season. So it becomes an issue if players aren't ready for the start of the season, but I don't think that's going to be a major thing that they have to worry about as far as, Demario Davis not being there or Alvin Kamara not being there. Those guys are going to do what they have to do to be ready for the season. The next question comes from Kamara's lawyer, who says, why do you think Mike Thomas's injury still doesn't seem healed? Look, the thing with this is that he's had multiple surgeries on this ankle at this point, and it's a process that needs to play out. And being frustrated about it really isn't going to do anything for anyone. I think it is heading in the right direction. And the thing I'll say about him is that him being in the building is what matters right now. Last year at this point, he was away from the team. He wasn't there training. And then he came in for minicamp. They find out about the ankle, and that starts off the whole chain of events. This year, he's in, he's around, he's bought in. He's met with Dennis Allen in California. Cody Burns flew out there to meet with him. I think things are all headed in the right direction, and that's the thing to look at right now. Rushing that for him to be ready for minicamp so that we talk about it in a different way and don't feel nervous about his status doesn't really do anybody any good in the long run. So the thing for him is he needs to be ready for training camp. If he's not, that's at the point where I'll start to worry about that situation. But for now, you just got to let it play out. And the last one comes from Kevin Sims. In years past, special teams has been the easiest route for UDFAs to make the team with elite special team vets like Gray, PJ, Bond, and Hardy, drafted guys like Taylor and Jackson, and vets like Callaway pushed down the depth chart. Will it be easier to make special teams or the offensive defensive depth chart? It's actually a really good question. Yeah, the path for maybe a gunner isn't quite there the way it was in the past. If Taylor does take on that role as he did in college, and he did a really great job at it in college, so I would assume he has a shot at it. That does kind of change things a little bit. So it is going to be a little bit harder for, say, a defensive back or a wide receiver that's good on special teams to make the team as they did in the past, because those spots are blocked a little bit. And I do think that there's maybe a couple spots where an undrafted guy could make a push, maybe on the defensive line or linebacker or somewhere else, that could make it a little bit easier for a guy that's more of a position player than a special teams player to make the team. Although, though, I do think there needs to be that overlap, especially when talking about UDFA players. But it is a good point. They've become really stacked on special teams. Darren Rizzi runs his process that kind of identifies different guys that they might want to sign. And I think we're seeing kind of the culmination of that process over the last few years since he joined the team playing out and creating incredible depth in that phase of the game. So that's all we got today. If you aren't in the community, hit me up. We'll get you an invite. You got to be a member of NewOrleans.Football, and make sure you're signed up, read the observations, all the stories, everything we're doing over there. We have all the coverage you need on the Saints all the time.